this is my final plea to Chelsea, to Roman Abramovich, to Thomas Tuchel. Sell him, please. We'll be better off. Come on.
Tuchel doesn't need Liverpool fans telling him about what he needs to do. Hey everybody, and welcome to Secure the Bag. Today we're hitting the hard-hitting questions. Are corners just luck? What the hell is going on at Tottenham? And is this crisis time for Real Madrid and Barcelona? Is this DEFCON 1 for La Liga? So I think starting off, I think we have to mention an important point for our listeners there, whether on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Some of you might only be listening to the audio, but Matt is doing something very special today. So Matt is bad. And Matt made a hot take he couldn't back up. Matt, why don't you explain to us and show the camera what you're wearing today?
Okay, so I made a hot take that Reece James, when Chelsea played Man City, was going to either score or assist. Now, I had some good reasoning for this. This year in the Premier League, Reece James' appearance has either scored or assisted since in his appearances. So I thought to myself, this might be a good shout, right? So Reece James, an hour before the game, I checked the lineups, Reece James in the lineups. I'm like, yes, boys. I'm like, we're on here. We can do something, right? About the 24th minute, goes off injured. And so I get voted over a questionable other hot take to be the worst hot take. So because I hate Liverpool and half my family are Liverpool supporters, I have to wear a Liverpool shirt for this podcast.
Bring the badge up to the camera, though.
Yeah.
Bring
Oh,
the badge
you can see it.
No. They need to see it. Yep, kiss the badge. Show the badge.
I'm not kissing the badge.
Why, you give us a cheeky little smile holding the badge?
Yep, show us.
Something.
Oh, Matt, you're just not playing.
I'm not getting baited into a thumbnail. No.
It's too. Oh well, we're fine. Well, Matt's going to learn here, sit in the corner and learn his lesson for the next 55 minutes, and we're going to get on and talk about football. Let's talk about the first game of interest to us, being the only one where one of our teams won this game week. Leeds 1, West Ham 2. Guys, I stayed up till the middle of the night to watch this game, and it was stressful. It was stressful. Yeah. Between Matt yelling Rafinha in the chat, we got lucky. We got lucky, but the game actually panned out as I expected. I thought after they won, got the first goal, I thought, here's what's going to happen. We got to get lucky. And then we've got to make sure they come at us for the win so we can counterattack and score the final goal. And that's exactly what happened. They had to come at us to get that second goal. We counterattacked with Declan Rice passing to Antonio and Antonio finding the bottom corner in the 89th minute. It was incredible. I think we did really well. Lads, what do you reckon? I think it was a good match.
I mean, no discredit to West Ham, but Man United beat Leeds 5-1 in the opening day. But anyway.
Yeah, sure.
I can't really say shit this week.
I was going to bring that up.
I think West Ham did get a little lucky,
Mm-hmm.
I think because I think West Ham got really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't probably didn't deserve to win. I would have said a draw would have been more.
It's Leeds away. It's Leeds away. That's probably not
away.
The worst possible. Yeah.
I think a draw was probably what everyone was expecting, and it was a close game. But yeah, you guys got lucky with that.
Yeah.
With that really late strike.
Yeah. But it wasn't even we were lucky in that they were having an injury crisis at the time. I think Bamford was out. Rafinha probably wouldn't have been able to play. It was lucky he was able to play. Sturridge had the red card for what he did against Harvey Elliott.
Yep.
And then I think Ayling was out as well.
That's correct.
And Jack Harrison was out as well.
So basically half their first team. All their best players. And without Bamford, they don't really look very deadly going forward.
No. And I think with Rafinha, they've got nothing. I think with Rafinha, they have nothing if they don't have Bamford.
Yeah, I was going to say Rafinha is a really good winger, right? He's actually quite a good attacking prowess. But when there's nobody on the end of those balls coming in and nobody to receive those through balls, again, and Bamford's quality. So I think you guys got lucky with the team selection and the injuries, but and lucky with the late minute strike, late second half strike.
I think it was to plan though. I think we planned
Yeah.
to win that way, so I can give us that. But they are
Look-
having rewatched that final goal. It's actually Shackleton who's responsible because Antonio spins him and goes on to score the goal. But their defender, so because of Ayling's injury, they had to bring on Charlie Cresswell for his debut, and he played really well. He was really good in the back line for them. So that's I'm very happy to see that. Another Cresswell in the league.
He'll probably be in a few people's fantasy teams this next week.
Yeah. Look, the only reason I got up about Rafinha scoring is because in last week's episode, if you guys haven't watched it, make sure you go watch it. When we were predicting this game, when we were predicting this game, I predicted Rafinha to score for Leeds. That's why I was pretty excited about that. But yeah, just to rehash what some of the boys have just said, I mean, it was a very even game. It could have went either way.
Yeah.
That own goal from Leeds really gave, I think, West Ham a bit more confidence there as the score was 1-1 in the after the 68th minute, I believe it was. And then after that, it was really neck and neck until Mikel Antonio scored in that last second. So you really saw it could have went either way. It could have been a Leeds win, it could have been a West Ham win, could have been a draw. And I mean, if Bamford's there and some of those injuries are actually playing in the first team, I don't see West Ham win this game. I mean, the Leeds were quality to that game.
We beat them last season. I think we know what we're doing, and we were better than them in the second half. I think saying we'd lose this was harsh. I went into this game expecting some point, like a point or three.
Away, it's a tough fixture away.
Mm.
It's a tough fixture away.
Yeah,
like the teams are really, you've got very comparable teams. I'd say, West Ham maybe a little bit of an edge, but pretty comparable teams. It's not like United versus Leeds, right? There's no huge differential. But no, again, I think I was a bit lucky. Just everything just kind of fell into place for you guys. As I said before, with the injuries and then the late goal, everything just and you're probably right. You guys probably did play for that late goal. It's pretty evident because you were knocking balls forward a little bit and just
you were pressing more on that last like 10 minutes.
Our best football is counter-attacking football. So we were happy to be able to shift into that role. We struggle more when teams realize we're good and sit back. That is when the problem occurs for us.
Don't push it.
Yeah.
Well,
don't push it.
Going back to that point, it was an away day. You take what you can get away. The big teams win at home, and we will win at home. Now, speaking of that, Matt, let's start with you. I know right now you're not really a Chelsea fan, but let's start with...
I'll always be a Chelsea fan, and nothing will change my mind.
Let's ask our resident Liverpool fan about the Chelsea-Manchester City result. Matt, you were on the live stream? You were watching this game live?
Who are we asking? I don't see any resident Liverpool fan here.
I only see one person in Liverpool kit, mate.
He's right.
That's because I'm forced to be in a Liverpool kit, mate.
No, we're on Zoom. How did I force you?
Look. I'll put it this way. I was on the live stream. If you guys haven't watched the live stream, go watch it. Thomas Tuchel, not the best lineup choice from him. Playing two strikers. The first time I've seen two strikers at Chelsea being played since the Fernando Torres Drogba days, and this was a blunder by him. Lukaku and Werner. I mean, theoretically, Lukaku's strength, Lukaku's way to push through defenders, and Werner's speed. I mean, that amounts to a quick 1-2. It's theoretically good. Those aspects for players are theoretically good, but the players that you pick to put in that position, bear in mind, Lukaku is a good player and he's been playing well for Chelsea so far, knock on wood. But Timo Werner, mate, look, I had a question on the live stream. It was, if you had to pick one player in your team to get rid of, who would it be? And it's Timo Werner. And at the end of that live stream, I did put a personal message out to Thomas Tuchel, and I told him, you better get rid of Timo Werner. I don't care what it takes. I don't care if you have to bring Eden Hazard back. I don't care. Whoever it is, bring someone back. Tammy Abraham back. I don't care. Look, Man City, they played well. They deserve to win. I'll swallow my pride and I'll say they did deserve to win, but the goal was very unlucky. I'll just put it out there. The goal was very unlucky. If that goal doesn't get deflected off Jorginho's foot, it's going straight to Mendy. No doubt.
Yeah, it was going down his throat. Down his throat. I mean, Man City played their typical Man City game, right? 15 shots, 4 on target, 60% possession. what 150, nearly 200 more passes than you guys. Better pass accuracy by quite a bit. Less fouls, less yellow cards. They had a few more offsides, but that's just because they were attacking more. Like Man City played their typical game, and they didn't really change much from playing. Credit where credit's due, right? Man City go into every game with the same mentality. Unlike teams like Liverpool and United, where they have to change it. Man City went into that game, and they were just attack, and you could see it. You could definitely see it. Like it wasn't as prominent, but you could definitely see that their plan was to go at it, right? And they did it well enough. Again, it was a lucky goal. Like Jackson, you know all about luck, but it was a lucky goal. But it wasn't. I think it would have come somewhere else. Like Timo Werner wasn't slotting your chances. Lukaku was marked like no tomorrow.
Yeah,
Lukaku wasn't
definitely.
getting off anybody.
Right.
And again, Werner's just not going to finish your goals. So there was really nobody to attack City well from you guys, from a Chelsea perspective. And I mean, City just had it, right? Even Gabby Jesus, who is notoriously just shit, can't finish, makes bad runs, heavy first touch. Gabby Jesus even played a really good game.
Yeah, I mean,
like Foden went missing a little bit, I must say.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
Jack Grealish. I think Jack Grealish had a good game. I think he played really well. Better than most of the Chelsea players played, at least.
I just want to criticise Chelsea's subs. I mean, they had 3 subs. Obviously, they used one up with Reece James, bringing Thiago Silva in. But the other 2 subs, I mean, you sub out N'Golo Kante, you sub out Jorginho, you sub out basically your heart and soul of your team in N'Golo Kante for, I believe it was Kai Havertz.
Yeah, Havertz and Loftus-Cheek came
Loftus-Cheek come on for Jorginho. I mean,
so sorry, Jackson. That is one of the stupidest substitutions I've ever seen in a long time, right? How is in what world, in what reality do you say, okay, we need a goal desperately. Let's bring on Ruben Loftus-Cheek, right? At that stage of the game, right? I think it was like 65, 70th minute. It was pretty late, right?
Around there, yeah.
So at that stage of the game where you're 1-0 down, you've got to go, oh shit, you know what? Let's stop trying to do damage control. Let's start trying to pump balls into the box. And when you have somebody like Saul on the bench, when you have somebody that is essentially a defensive mid, but who is so technically gifted on the ball and his pass is unbelievable and his dribbling is top tier, right? Why would you bring on someone like Ruben Loftus-Cheek? It just felt like damage control.
Exactly.
And that's a wrong mentality.
And I mean, like, even going back to the bench as well, I mean, we've got Callum Hudson-Odoi and we've got Hakim Ziyech as well. Like, there's other players you should be picking over Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Absolutely. Havertz, I understand. I understand Havertz.
Yeah, Havertz.
And he was probably the best player on the pitch until for the whole game. He was only on for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The problem with that, though, is it's like we clearly don't understand Tuchel's logic. I mean, when me and Matt saw Kante coming on for Mount against Tottenham, we were like, they need goals. What's going on here? What's the choice? And in the end, that one worked. Tuchel is not averse to making massive changes in his lineups or formation or game plan, like even during the game against major sides like Tottenham, like Man City. And I think, against Juventus, after Juventus, Tuchel came out and said, we have a problem with shooting. We have a problem with goal scoring. That's a problem. And I think he went into that Manchester City game already aware of that problem and thought, we're going to try 2 strikers. Hopefully Werner will be better than he's been on his own and be better with a man besides him who... The idea is that someone pacey like Werner can make the runs past Lukaku while Lukaku holds up the ball and gives the pass to Werner. Werner's on and Werner scores. That is how that plays out in his head. Yeah. And it fixes Chelsea's scoring problem. The problem is Werner's terrible.
Yeah, that's the same mentality as getting a bucket of water, throwing it on the sidewalk and praying for fucking rain.
He has no other option. Yeah, he doesn't have any other option.
But I haven't seen a 2-striker formation from a big club in so long.
Exactly.
It doesn't work anymore. Just the way defenses are set up now, it doesn't work anymore. And the speed of the game doesn't work for a 2-striker formation. And It really shocked me. Again, they didn't have all three subs. Granted, maybe if Reece James didn't get injured and Matt didn't have to wear this shitty Liverpool kit, things might have been really different. He could have brought on Saul, or
exactly.
could have brought on even Ben Chilwell or something, someone that has a decent cross or some pace or something different.
I mean, we had Marcus Alonso on the left side. I mean, he's been doing bits for Chelsea the last couple of games, so we sort of trusted him and trusted. We brought in Thiago Silva, slotted him back into that centre back spot, and put Azpilicueta as more of an attacking.
Thiago Silva looked good.
Right mid. Yeah, so our defense wasn't that much of a problem. It was
the defense did basically everything they needed to do, except for that 1 minute where Gabby scored. They otherwise really just neutralised Man City's attack. Yeah. This game was really similar to the Champions League final in that it was really Man City really putting on the pressure, but Chelsea dealing with the pressure. The only difference between these two is the moment of luck didn't occur for Chelsea. It happened for Man City. Yeah. Chelsea got lucky with that Havertz goal in that final.
They did.
Whereas, really and this time Gabby got lucky with his goal in the...
That being said, Chelsea shouldn't have given him that much room, right?
Yeah.
And just to quickly, I know we've got to move on to Manchester United, unfortunately. But I'm a big believer of the saying, you're only as good as your last result, right? And to touch on Werner, I mean, he's not putting in results. So the mentality of, he's got pace, he's going to be able to open up that defense and slot in with Lukaku with a 1-2 or whatever. It doesn't work when the player himself either can't, he's good at off the ball runs, right? He's good at running off the ball. But when you need him to do a 1-2 and he kicks it to Japan,
or he's got open goal, goes to chip the keeper and doesn't even lift off the floor. Before we move on to Man United, because I know we need to move on, this is my final plea to Chelsea, to Roman Abramovich, to Thomas Tuchel. Sell him, please. We'll be better off. Come on.
Tuchel doesn't need Liverpool fans telling him about what he needs to do. Come on, Matt.
You're pushing it
at this point. He's still
pushing it now. You're pushing it.
All right. Well, let's talk about the other disappointment that actually distracted Anthony from the live stream game. We told him to focus on Chelsea, and I think he said, "Shut up and let me focus on this game." Anthony, what happened?
Honestly, I don't know what happened. I just don't know. We played typical Man United football under Ollie. Again, I just want to preface this whole little rant by saying I'm 100% Ollie in. I don't believe in sacking managers halfway through a season or after 6 games. Manchester United, I don't think you'll find many people that disagree with me. Manchester United have the most reactionary fan base in the Premier League, if not the world, right? More so than Real Madrid, more so than Barcelona. And Ollie he's done more good than bad for us, right? He's got good players around him. He just needs to tweak a few things, right? So with that being said, we didn't play well. We had 60% of the possession. We didn't do anything with it, right? We had 28 shots, but only 4 of those were on target. Versus Aston Villa, 7 shots and 3 were on target. So pound for pound, it's a high percentage of on target shots from Villa. And that's probably that's not great. And I don't see where the problem is with United anymore. It's difficult to pinpoint. McFred. It doesn't do it for me. I like McTominay a lot. I think he's probably, if you got a good midfield pairing, him and Pogba don't work great together, but a good midfield pairing with McTominay and someone else, and that's not Fred. Maybe Van der Beek does the job. Maybe Van der Beek does the job. While Sancho's out of form, you just keep popping.
Van der Beek's will get off the bench.
I'll say that the Aston Villa game was really similar to your cup game against West Ham, in that you had a lot of shots, but they were all from long range and really didn't trouble
We didn't do
anyone.
They're just shots. They're shots for the point of taking shots.
But that game also had a different lesson, and a lesson that would have been really well learned for the Aston Villa game, in that what is your best midfield pairing? And it's not McTominay and Fred. It was Matic and Donny, who were really good in that game. And they didn't play.
Matic plays well. He does.
Yeah.
He looks.
And with Donny, it's the thing about Matic and Donny is that they're a perfect 6 and 8.
Yeah.
That's very conventional. That pairing is theoretically going to work. Fred and McTominay don't. They're both sort of lying back. They're not good at passing.
Well, that's not
They
Fred's
don't
role,
make the
right?
run.
He's never been traditionally a
Yeah.
good. He was never like when we bought him. He wasn't bought to be a defensive midfielder as much as Mourinho wanted it, and that's not his position. When he was over in Russia, that wasn't his position. He was a box-to-box midfielder, not defensive mid.
The best thing they could do is do McTominay and Fred in the midfield. McTominay and Pogba in the midfield, or Donny for Pogba.
We've tried that. We've tried that, right?
And it worked, didn't it? He got 4 assists.
No.
In the game he played.
The 4 assists was
Pogba
was on the right wing.
Pogba was on the right
attacking mid kind of position.
Yeah.
But that's not even the worst part. I mean, this penalty debacle. I for any of the listeners that don't know, I don't know how you don't know, but Ronaldo's back at United. Bruno's our penalty taker, and he rarely misses. He's a fantastic penalty taker, always has been. We've got great penalty takers at United, right? Telles is probably the best, one of the top 5 penalty takers in the world. Same with free kicks. Alex Telles is fantastic. Like I've never seen Telles miss a goal.
Did you start him? No,
we don't start him. I'm just saying. At the club, we've got all this talent from taking penalties. On the field, Bruno, and Ronaldo. I don't see. I understand this will be the last penalty that Bruno will ever take. If Bruno scored this, I think Ronaldo would be lying back, or they'd take turns or swap now. But Ronaldo looked visibly pissed off. Since when does Bruno sky it like that?
So
This is
rough. This would be like me as the West Ham fan saying after Noble didn't get his penalty in against Manchester United. Well, strip him of the badge. He can never take a penalty again.
It's not that. Ronaldo he takes pens everywhere.
Look,
he takes it for internationally. He takes it in Champions League.
But Bruno's got a penalty record comparable to Noble. Not as many, but he's got a really good penalty record.
Like
Ronaldo.
You don't get the name Panedes for no reason. Like Fernandez, you don't get that for no reason if you're not sinking penalties.
All I know, and I don't know how much else I can say without getting really upset, like sad upset, is when you're looking, and he's proven it again. Make sure to check out our Champions League roundup that was posted yesterday. When United need a goal, or any team that Ronaldo's playing on, when United need a goal, you look to Ronaldo. When United need a goal, that team needs a goal, you look to Ronaldo, right? There is nobody on earth I'd probably put more confidence in the 90th minute or the 80th minute. So at the later stage of the game, there's no one on earth I'd put more confidence in than Ronaldo scoring and coming through. And that's a fact, right? He does it all the time. And again, just did against Villarreal. Like it's there's nobody I'd put faith in more than Ronaldo to bag a winner and be the hero. And it just strikes me as odd that Bruno can't see that.
Look,
especially in the form he's on.
I've been saying this since Ronaldo come to Man United. We're going to see the demise of Bruno this season. Ronaldo being there. We're going to see his downfall.
It started already.
Yeah, it has. And sorry to interrupt you, Jackson. But I mean, you look at Bruno's penalty. He skied it higher, right? We've seen it once before. We've seen it from Steven Gerrard from Liverpool. And what was that referring to? And they wanted the manager gone. I mean, is this a telltale sign that Bruno's not happy that Ollie's there now? That he wants Ollie gone?
I believe that less than him just being a dick.
But Ronaldo didn't there was no sign that Ronaldo was ever told Fernandez when they got that penalty, I should take this.
No,
there's no indication of that. No. It was Ronaldo saying, I'm the newcomer here. I've only just returned. Bruno, you're the established penalty taker. I'm not going to take this from you. He never walked up to Bruno in that game and said, I should take this penalty. Bruno was like, I'm taking this penalty. And Ronaldo was like, that's your right.
Best believe every game after this now, he's going to walk up and be like, that penalty's mine.
Maybe. But the fact is that the narrative that this is like Bruno undermining the team by not letting Ronaldo there just isn't there. That narrative's not there.
I don't think that's what happened at all. Ronaldo didn't look happy that he wasn't taking it though.
I mean, Ronaldo's not happy when he's not taking it.
Ronaldo doesn't look happy when he's not scoring. Like,
he doesn't have a problem with that this season.
Early stages, mate. Early stages.
Antonio scored more goals than Ronaldo so far, mate. I'd just hold back a little bit.
Antonio's played sort of games.
Oh my God, how terrible! No, you played in Champions League. Antonio had a red card, and he still got more goals than
West Ham didn't lose to Young Boys.
West Ham lost to us.
They didn't lose to Young Boys.
But then we beat you. I recall.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Or was that the cup?
But you know what? In the end, all football is luck anyway.
True. It could have happened to anyone, and if it had happened to Villa, then it would have been a very different story.
Yeah,
I would have been cheering.
So that could have easily been a 1-1 draw. But let's talk about our first major topic, and this is a gripe I'd had with Anthony for a little bit. He's talking some real smack, and I think we need to discuss it. Corners. Now, Anthony's looked at that Villa corner and that goal and thought, oh, luck. The corners are just luck. I don't agree with that, Anthony.
Why? Give me a couple of reasons.
Because corners are, for me, so here's the thing, very few goals are scored off corners.
Yeah.
If you take every team in the Premier League and look at how many goals they score off corners, you'll see it like it's one corner goal every 10 games.
I have
or something like that.
Yeah,
it's nothing. It's nothing. But the fact is that doesn't take into account the teams that have corners as a strategy. Last season, West Ham's strategy was to score goals on set pieces like corners. The difference between you properly defending corners and properly attacking is light and day. You can either man mark on corners or you can zonal mark on corners. How you take corners depends on whether you want men in the box or men on the edge of the box. There's so much strategy involved in corners that it's ridiculous to say it's just luck, because some managers created their career off set pieces.
Exactly.
So like Alan Pardew, Sam Allardyce, Roy Hodgson, even like Ralph Hasenhüttl for a bit at Southampton with Ward-Prowse. It's a strategy. Now, the stats don't take into account that most teams don't use corners as part of their strategy. They score goals in open play. But the few teams that do make up most of those statistics.
I get
that. Go on, Matt.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think corners is an underlooked tactic in soccer. Like you see your free kicks, like everyone works on their free kicks, everyone works on their tactics, their zones, whether it be from goal kicks, from moving the ball around, different type of formation tactics. But no one really looks into those corner tactics, except for the managers that Jackson's been talking about. Like, yeah, okay. You could get lucky, get the occasional, a couple games, you get a couple headers, stick a 6'4", 6'5" guy into the box, try and get the ball to his head and get the goal. But like there are strategies around, maybe I should be putting players here. Maybe there should be a player closer to this back post and then make him run into the front post, like try and get him to create space for himself.
No, I get that. I understand. And there's definitely strategies and I'm not arguing that at all. Maybe luck is the wrong word, right? Maybe luck is the wrong word. But I don't really know what I could say here, right? Because I don't think it's an argument anybody can win. And again, I think luck is the wrong word. But to score from a corner is statistically it's lucky, right? Mm-hmm. Statistically, it's very lucky. Like, let me pull up some stats for you. Like let's talk about Man United, right? Mm-hmm. They score 1.9% they score from 1.9% of their corners, right? Mm-hmm. The highest percentage of corners scored is from West Brom at 10.1%. Mm-hmm. Right, and again, that's kind of that they can't score from open play because they're garbage, so they have to. That's
what I was just about to pose to you. Let me pose it like a question to you: is teams that can score easier from open play, they don't need to use corners as a tactic. That's why corners aren't going to be as utilised in those teams. Like you look at your West Broms, you look at your Norwiches, you look at all those other teams on the lower spectrum of the ladder.
The reason for that though is this: the way you win a corner is you have a man outside the box, up on the line, up in the corner, and he's got a choice. He's either going to put a cross in, or he's going to try and get it to deflect off a defender out for a corner.
Mm-hmm.
That's a strategy. Teams do that. If you're a team that believes in yourself and win in open play, you're going to put a cross in. If you don't have that confidence as a team, you're going to deflect for a corner. So that's the reason, like, you get less corners when you're one of these sides that is confident in open play, because you don't aim for corners. A corner happens because the defense doesn't handle it properly. You don't force a corner. You try and get a cross in the box instead.
That's not what I'm saying, though. I'm saying just the act of scoring from a corner is very lucky, and a lot of teams, they do rely on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of teams play for it. But let's talk about. I already brought up West Brom, so let's not beat around the bush. Let's talk about someone like a few years ago, Hull City. Remember?
Yep.
They couldn't score very well from open play, right? They had okay players, but they played for set pieces, right? Like West Brom, Hull, all these, Palace to an extent, right? They a lot of these teams play for those set pieces, right? And that's why they get relegated. Because they can't score from open play. They can't score from open play, so they play for these set pieces. Statistically, it's very lucky to score from a corner. I've given you those stats. I can give you the exact numbers as well. But
and I agree.
Well, that's why they get relegated, because they're playing for these lucky opportunities.
And I agree that there are a lot of teams who turn to corners due to lack of confidence. It happens. Yep. But I could then give you other examples where teams have used corners as part of a strategy to finish in European football. Burnley did it, 17-18, and West Ham did it last year. Yeah. That was like, we won games off set pieces. It was as simple as that. We won a lot of games off set pieces, and Burnley did that in 17-18.
A lot of games come down when they come down to the wire, and it is the 90th minute. You throw your goalkeeper in there. Of course, it's a strategy, right?
Yeah.
Statistically, you're not going to score that, though.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
and that's exactly why teams like Norwich keep going up and down, right? They've got the confidence to play in like the football league. They've got the confidence to be in the second tier of football, and they're going to win that comfortably, as they have been doing the last few years, up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Maybe Norwich is a bad example, but you
also
know,
a bad team.
These championship, top of the championship, but they can't perform in the Prem, right? They can't perform with the big boys, and that's why you've got up and down, up and down. Right, you've got all this dance of relegation, because they're playing for these lucky opportunities, and when luck doesn't fall in your favor, you're not going to win the game in the 90th minute. You're not going to, and especially if you're in the 20th minute, if you're playing for these set pieces, statistically you're not going to score them. So corners are a lucky. Winning them becomes a game of luck for you.
You can say that it's difficult. Yeah, you can say that it's difficult.
Yeah,
but
you take.
I can tell you exactly.
Lucky.
I can tell you exactly why Aston Villa got the goal from that corner. Though. Like, you can say, it all needs to happen right in the corner, but I can tell you exactly why Aston Villa won that corner. Because of two things: the player on De Gea, sort of like distracting, causing confusion. He jumps out of the way when the corner comes in, but the players made the strategic decision to run forward to the near post and make sure he's lost his man. Here's the thing, right? He could absolutely miss that. The chances are that he could do everything right and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But you don't score it unless you do all the hard work. Then you depend on luck.
I agree.
And that's where the strategy.
It's a strategy, no doubt, right?
Look,
it's certainly a passage of play.
Yeah.
My vision on this is, like, you've got your open play, you've got everything else that it takes to try and score. But those set pieces, those corners, those free kicks, all your other types of set pieces, they're something that you can control. That, like, the outcome you might not be able to control, but the way you set it up and the way it's executed is solely on you. So it's 100% you that you can, put in a good corner. You can run your route. You can try and lose your man as much as you can. Or we're talking free kicks. You can put your best free kick taker on there. You can set up whoever you want in the box if it's further out. It's a goal scoring opportunity. It's like, you're 100% reliant on how you're executed. So that's why I wouldn't really say it's more luck. The execution, maybe the outcome of it, the outcome might not be a sure thing, something you can control, but the execution is something teams can control. We have seen that. Yeah. I mean, some teams come out with better results from those executions than other teams. So I wouldn't really say that these corners are luck. I'd say it's an underused strategy.
It's again, I mean, if we look at, let's go from like 2010, last bit of stat. I know we need to move on shortly. If we look at like from say 2010 to 2015, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's estimated that between 0.32 and 0.38 of goals per game came from corners in the Premier League, right?
Mm.
So when you have teams relying on these set pieces, and again, it's some teams do it fantastic, right? Some teams do it really well, and you can see that they're setting up well. You can see the strategy, you can see the plan, you can really visualize exactly what's going through the manager's head when he sets it up.
Mm-hmm.
But they just don't come up clutch. If that works, if that phrase works a little, it doesn't, because it's they're such a rare occurrence to score from, because it's luck based more so than I'd say strategy, right? Because anybody can get a shitty deflection, anybody can get a shitty touch. Same goes for open play, more so in the corner, because it's so luck driven. 0.3, let's just go to 0.35, right in the middle. 0.35 goals per game does not win you. That's not a winning strategy at all. Villa got lucky with that header.
Look, it's not a winning strategy, but some teams rely on those tactics. Like
And
that,
a lot of those teams go straight back down the next year.
Yeah, a lot of those teams can go straight back down,
but
because they don't have. Yeah, a lot of them don't. But some of them don't have the talent to perform in open play. That's the thing.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a team that knows it can win in open play, but it wants an alternative way to score to keep their opponents on their toes, and a team that knows it's terrible and thinks, I'll just rely on corners. That is, most of the teams you've given me there as examples are the second category. Yeah. They don't have any confidence. They just have to hope that corners, like, luck gives them better odds than playing.
That plays into my argument, though, right? So, sorry, it kind of plays into my argument. Villa do have the squad, and they have a great squad.
Yeah, they have the squad
to be able to score from open play. Yeah. That just kind of plays into my argument. That's luck.
But despite the fact, but despite the fact they can win an open play, they still play a corner and make sure they make every right move. So if the ball falls right, they score.
Every team.
No, there's not a lot of. No, I don't. I don't.
I think every team has a.
Manchester United corners are awful.
Oh, you know what? Let's take Manchester United out of it, because
no, you said every team, mate. You said every team.
I'll list some teams. I will list some teams that cannot organise during a corner. I absolutely think Manchester United is one of the worst defenders.
Yeah.
Arsenal are awful. They don't put any effort. It's about the coaching staff. The ones who manage how teams work are the coaching staff. And you can see what teams have a terrible backroom coaching staff. It's teams like Manchester United, Arsenal, Wolves,
Palace.
I haven't seen them know how to do anything from corners. Palace, Roy Hodgson seems to have more structure. They have their days. And they've got a good set piece taker in their captain, Milivojevic. And then if I had to say some other teams, Burnley are good, Southampton are good, Norwich are bad. I'd say you could say they try and turn to corners, but they do not organise with corner. Like, there's no way you can take being good at corners or doing the right things for granted, because teams clearly don't.
No, you can't take it for granted. Right. I don't really. Yeah, it's not really much of an argument, right? But but it's just I think that the Villa goal was luck.
You can think that as a fan, as a Manchester United fan, you're allowed to think that.
I'm sure if it was taken out of a different team, I'm sure I wouldn't give a shit.
The Villa,
they scored that really well. I'm just salty still.
The Villa goal might have been luck, but you know what goals weren't luck? The Arsenal goals 3-1 against Tottenham. I mean, I think we should look at Arsenal's rise compared to Tottenham's fall this season. I mean, boys, you have any opinions on that? Because I know I've got
it's still early days, but I just love the comparison. Tottenham winning their first three, then losing their second three. Arsenal losing their first three, winning their second three. It's just what's the symmetry there?
I wouldn't really call Arsenal's rise a rise. I mean, their last three games. 1-0 against Norwich, 1-0 against Burnley, and 3-1 in the North London derby. I mean, don't get me wrong, clean sheets are good, but clean sheets against potential relegation teams like Norwich and Burnley is not really that hard. Like, if we're looking realistically, Arsenal hasn't had that much of a rise compared to Tottenham's fall, and Tottenham's fall has been big. You look at once Harry Kane gets isolated, once he gets taken out of the game. Like we said in the episode last week, if you guys haven't seen it, make sure you go watch it. But Tottenham have no options. They have no options once Harry Kane's isolated. Heung-min Son can't do everything by himself.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
He can't do everything.
Gill is not going to save your team.
No.
It's interesting you mentioned Arsenal clutching at 1-0 wins, right? Look at their invincible season as an example. They got so many fucking draws.
Anthony.
No. I have a point behind.
He's just taken the chance to like dog on Arsenal's invincible season. That was bad. That was a bad season.
I don't think it was that impressive to draw. Like you, a lot of people are giving Arteta a lot of stick for his performances, and rightfully so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Arsene Wenger kind of did the same thing. Let's not talk about the invincible season. That's a bad comparison. Arsene Wenger played for a lot of 1-0 draws. I think people are forgetting this. And if Arteta can kind of fabricate that 1-0 draw mentality and let's get this goal early and sit back, or let's get this goal late and just push. If he can clutch at that and he can manifest that and keep that same strategy all season, that's a top 4. That's even a Premier League winning mentality.
I agree with that. There's a difference between teams that aim for the 1-0 and because when Liverpool were winning games like 1-0, 2-1, when they won the title, it wasn't about them playing for that. It was that they just pushed through and broke down defenses and had to take those wins. They didn't play for those results.
I think Arsenal are absolutely playing for these results though. Because they just need a few wins under their belt to get confidence back and bring up that mentality in the locker room.
Look at their previous results before that: 5-0 Man City, 2-0 Chelsea, 2-0 Brentford. Yep. I mean, they're playing just to get wins and points on the board, really.
Maybe those 3 first losses are maybe not representative because 2 of them were against title contenders. Correct. That's rough. Who
Brentford and
Brentford and Chelsea.
Brentford and Chelsea. Yeah. But I mean, the Brentford one, first day, anything can happen in the first week.
And you're a newly promoted team. You've got to give them. They're going to go out hell for it, right?
Yeah. So. But, I actually find these like 1-0 wins to be impressive from a team that was losing, looked terrible. I think it's an improvement. But the win against Tottenham, there was nothing like playing 1-0 for that. They went for that game. They went for the throw and they just shocked Tottenham. Tottenham had no idea what that game was. True. They were out of that game in the first 20 minutes in my mind because Arsenal had an intensity and an energy that Tottenham just could match. And we should talk about Tottenham because I do think it needs to be said that while Arsenal's goals were definitely from the counter attack, it was fair because Tottenham didn't look like they had any idea about what to do in possession. There was no real attacks.
Poor going forward. They couldn't break down Arsenal's back line. They couldn't even break down the midfield, really. They couldn't get space.
Well, Tottenham didn't really show up, let's be honest. I mean, the midfield, Ndembele, Højbjerg, Ali. I mean, Dele Alli ended up getting subbed off for, I think it was Oliver Skip or Brian Gill, one of the two. He got subbed off for one of them. And then Ndembele would have got subbed off for the other. I mean, they made 2 midfield changes because they knew they couldn't break through their Arsenal's midfield. I mean, Arsenal's midfield wasn't great either. It's Grant, Xhaka, and Thomas. Hey, you're not talking about the best midfield in the Premier League, but just not Tottenham are falling apart. Yeah. They're not who they were even last year or the year before.
No, they're not.
I mean,
I think that's Nuno's fault though.
Look, yeah. I mean, that last goal, I think it was Bukayo Saka on the 34th minute. The only person that actually made a challenge at Bukayo Saka is Harry Kane. Yeah. You're having your striker challenge a opposing team's winger at a goal to try and stop him from scoring. That's something your defenders should be doing.
Where's the defenders on that? Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah, Tottenham look shaky all over. Yeah. I mean, they I don't know what it is, right? I really rate Tottenham. Their squad is fantastic. It really is. I mean, they don't have a backup striker, really, but they can work around that. Right?
Can they really?
Kane gets injured, we push Son into the middle, and then maybe just change the formation a little bit, right? Or maybe move to a two forward, or maybe chuck a Man City and not have play with the striker, right? I don't think Nuno's probably the right man for the job with the team he has, right? So if you look at Nuno's past, if you look at Wolves, right? If you look at Wolves, they had recognised, talented, quick, pacey wingers.
Portugal.
Yeah.
Portugal.
Portugal. He had the Portuguese team, right? Portuguese B team, I might add. But like Tottenham and Wolves don't have the same squad in any sense of the word, right? There is no comparison between the strike of Kane and I'm forgetting who they had, Angel someone, right? Beside the point. Kane plays back a lot more, and he gets stuck in a third or 2/3 up to the pitch. He's not going to sit in the box, right? You had Adama Traore, who looks like the second coming of Messi this year, but he's quick, he's pacey, he's strong as shit.
Tore up Manchester United that one game.
Yeah, okay, all right.
But I mean, you mentioned Nuno, but it's
Son
even simpler than that. It's not even just the players. Nuno didn't need to learn how to play the team at Wolves in possession. They played counter-attacking
football. Tottenham don't do that.
Yeah, they don't do that. And so Nuno now has to play with a completely different team that doesn't play with possession.
Correct.
Tottenham needed to go for a manager like Graham Potter, who plays in possession, because Tottenham will play in possession. But Nuno can't. Nuno won that game against Man City off counter-attacking football. And they only won that other game against Wolves 1-0 on counter-attacking football.
Yeah, it's like if... Actually, I don't have a good comparison for United because we're a shambles, right? Because we don't know how we play. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? If the brand of football that you play, actually, I have a good comparison for Tottenham. If the brand of football you play for Nuno is counter-attacking football, and you've got the right players to do that, like Adama Traore, that's your brand of football. You can't go into another club with a completely different setup, completely different coaching staff. A lot of these players at Tottenham have been there forever and a day, right? Kane, Son, Ndombele, Ali, Dyer, Sanchez, Lloris, all these players, Tanganga as well, right? He's been there since he was a kid. All these players have it ingrained in their mind that Tottenham isn't a counter-attacking football club, whereas Wolves was, right? So setting up how they do isn't going to work. They came off having Mourinho. They had Jose Mourinho, right?
Yeah.
The least counter-attacking football manager I've probably ever seen. The man holds the ball until they physically steal it off Tottenham.
Exactly.
He instilled this mentality. Tottenham already had this with Poch, but Jose just reinforced, we keep the ball. This is our game. We control it. We choose who wins, right? And now Nuno's pushing everyone forward on the counter against Arsenal, whose back line is actually pretty good. Ben White, for all the shit we give him for his transfer fee, is actually quite a solid defender. Tierney's really quick. If they slide Bayer in, really quick.
And that Japanese kid, Tomiyasu, was really good in that game.
Really quick, really
We're going to see him flourish.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's a miracle they even got a goal, to be honest. It's just because they got Ramsdale in goal.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else I can say. I think Nuno's really the wrong man for him.
No, fair enough. And I think on that word, we should move on to another couple teams in crisis. Geez, there's a lot of teams doing terrible this year. I think we have to mention the Champions League results. We have to talk about Barcelona and Real Madrid, who both lost their European games and who I'd say are both teams are looking dire. Like Ancelotti and Koeman have come in and they are not prepared for the nightmare that is these clubs right now. Would I be right? I'd say they're on equal levels of concern.
Oh,
honestly.
definitely.
I'd say Barca maybe a little bit worse, but Real losing to Sheriff is rough.
They're both equal level of concern, or maybe a slightly more. Like Barca might have slightly more to concern about in play style. But you look at their off the field troubles as well. I mean, Barcelona is in some pretty big field trouble as well, where in terms of their salary cap and their ability to sign players. But yeah, that affects their on-field performance as well.
Yeah.
I mean, losing 3-0, being the powerhouse Barcelona you are, and you're at the bottom of your Champions League group at the moment. You might not even come out of the Champions League group. You might not even go to the Europa League. You might be last. You haven't even got a point out of your group yet. Like that's poor from a team as rich as history as Barcelona.
Yeah. And people will say that the financial difficulties of Barca should mean they're a little worse off. But for me, like Real Madrid might be a little earlier on that curve.
They are.
Because they're at that stage where Barca was, where they spend hundreds of millions on players and get nothing.
Correct.
Like Real Madrid signings have been really subpar for like years. And I think like Eden Hazard is the most like notorious example of this.
Mate, he definitely is.
In Real's case,
definitely is.
Yeah. And like they spent like hundreds of millions on players like Luka Jovic. They spent 50 million on Luka Jovic, and he's a flop. He could go to West Ham.
Yeah.
Like Eden Hazard, 190. He was getting up there
around there.
And complete flop. Now they grabbed Mendy at fullback, flop, bad player as well. There's players all over the pitch. Different Mendy, safe
we
Mendy.
Can't even bring up the name Mendy anymore.
Unless he's a Chelsea goalkeeper.
Like, it's so like there's a reason Benzema is still the player Real Madrid depend on. But it means that Real Madrid aren't quite at the complete financial ruin yet that Barca are yet. Although I can see it coming. I can see it coming for Real.
I mean, you look at Barca's like limit for this season, for last season, it was 382 million. The season before that, prior to the pandemic, it was 600 million.
Yeah.
Like they've dropped heaps, and you see that's going to happen with Real Madrid as well. Like Real Madrid have had the capacity to sign Kylian Mbappe. I mean, they probably still do at this point. But look, you look at it. You really think Kylian Mbappe is going to move to a team that just lost 2-1 to Sheriff, a team that it doesn't even have a country, man. Like they're not even in a country. Like it's just. It's shameful, to be honest.
I'll say the same thing I said in the PSG OT. I think he'll still go because he has an image of Real Madrid in his head. And he wants to, he wants to be that man. And even if Real Madrid are like good, he'll make them good. Yeah. In his mind, he's going, I'll make them good. And I'll take stage.
Madrid's limit at the moment is over 500 million, which is higher than any other team in Spain. So they've got the capacity to do it. Like
they are significantly in debt. Like the financial issues are beginning to creep in. Like it happens. Like if they buy Mbappe, they're putting themselves in $500 million in debt and hoping Mbappe brings back the good times.
Exactly.
You need to be, if you're bringing Mbappe, when you have a front line of Mbappe, you've got Benzema there, you've still got Bale on the books technically. Not that he's going to ever play. He's too busy out playing golf. But and then you got players like Eden Hazard, who was the best player in the Premier League. Absolutely. KDB takes it now, but he was the best player in the Premier League by a long shot as well.
And then you moved to Real and got fat.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Pretty much.
Wow, Matt. We're trying to be body positive around here, Matt. You've just gone out and assassinated the man.
It's harsh, but it's true. He moved to Real Madrid and he declined hard.
Wasn't he 7 or 9 kilos overweight?
Yeah.
So over that summer when he moved?
Yeah, he was.
He's just inspired by Luke Shaw, all right?
He's inspired by my COVID attempts. Right?
And then you've also got Vinicius Jr. up front as well.
Who's an on and off talent. He's no Mason Greenwood.
He's on and off. Yeah.
He's a great player, but he's quick. He's really rapid. His finishing's not there. And so he's just not going to score goals. But if we look at this Barcelona, I'm not sure how much time we've got, but if we look at this Barcelona squad quickly, I mean, they're playing a 31-year-old Luke de Jong up top in a 2-striker formation with Memphis Depay. Memphis Depay is not even an out-and-out striker. Right, I would say his best position is out in the left wing. Personally, he played striker a lot at Lyon. He played it there a couple of times for United, but Lyon he was the striker kind of. But his best position is still a winger. And Barcelona are in shambles, right? Since they lost Messi, they are playing. They're playing 3 at the back for starters. Right, since they lost that focus of Messi, they've completely changed their style of play. And if you look at their squad. You've got Pedri, who
He's
one
the-
of the most. He's one of the most.
He's
Talented,
the best player in the squad. at the moment.
He's the best player by a mile.
Yeah.
He's probably the most talented midfielder in the world for his age. But you look at these players that they've built this team around, and they built the team around Messi and that formation. But they've got Sergio Roberto, Frankie de Jong, Sergio Busquets. They've still got PK at the back, Ter Stegen. They've still got Coutinho on the books, and Titty,
and Ansu
Fati. Like they've built this team, and they built around this formation that they knew was proven and worked. And they've still got all these old players sitting there that have that formation ingrained in them, and they have that style of play ingrained in them. And now when you switch to like a 3 at the back for someone like Barcelona, I'm not surprised Benfica scored 3 against them. That Benfica squad's pretty nice, man. Vertonghen and Otamendi at the back. Like João Mario and Weigl in the middle. Alex Grimaldo out in the left.
João Mario was on at loan at West Ham for a bit. He was a quality player while he was there.
He was quality, yeah. And then David Nunez and Rafa Silva on the wings. Like that's a pretty solid team.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all at the result.
Especially
not playing 3 at the back.
And I'm not surprised Garcia gets a red card as well. I mean, frustration starts to set in when you're down 3-0 to Benfica, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm stereotypically one of the famous teams in the world, one of the best teams in the world. We should be crushing this team. But you see the difference of losing Messi. I mean, you see the downgrade that Barcelona has just come to. And I mean, we got to face the facts. Barcelona, Real Madrid might not even win the Liga this year. You might face Atletico might take it. You look at the facts here. It'd be the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember how long it's been. Maybe about 4 or 5 years, or maybe I'm wrong.
I actually think Atletico Madrid might have won last year.
Did they? Yeah.
So the decline you spoke of is already falling apart.
The point you're trying to make is the exact same whether they won last year or not. Last year was irrelevant because that dominance is already over.
Yeah,
it's clearly over.
But I can see that. So speaking of that, then I'll ask both of you the same question. If you were in a position to advise that both Real Madrid and Barcelona make one policy each, signing a certain player, doing something with the manager, doing anything, what would you recommend? I'll start with Anthony.
So I can start with Real Madrid. I think they need to get out of their heads that they're the biggest club in the world, because they're clearly not. They're not anymore. I'd change their transfer policy a little bit and their mentality towards the transfer policy, because it's clearly not working, right? So I'd say to them, you need to offload deadwood. You need to fix that debt first. Bring some academy players through, whatever. Offload players, fix that debt, then make one huge marquee signing like an Mbappe in 2 years. Not now, not next season. In 2 years, you solve this deadwood. Then you bring in your big signing like Mbappe, and that would fix them. I truly believe it would fix them. Right? They need a year to just reset, fix everything. They need a great manager. They need to fix everything and reset, and then that would fix them. I truly believe they're one signing away, and that little slight mentality change away from truly dominating. And I don't think Barcelona can do that in the state they're in. Matt, do you want to cover Barca?
I'll cover Barca. I mean, Barcelona. My opinion on them is, look, I think they've got some pieces there they need to keep. Like obviously Pedri, one of the best midfielders for his age at the moment. You've got a couple key pieces, a couple guys that you want to keep there. But look, considering the age of the squad, considering the squad was basically built around Messi, I think the squad needs a complete rebuild. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, boys, but like, look, I don't see them doing that well without Messi being into their squad at the moment. I mean, they've built all their stuff around there. Sergio Aguero, he's not going to really perform there, is he? I mean, he's getting to the later start of his career. He only moved there because Messi was there, and then Messi's gone and moved to PSG. I mean, look, I think you get rid of your older guys, and it's sad to say, maybe keep PK, keep Busquets, because they're your mentors, I guess, in the midfield and the defensive line. But that you got to get rid of your dead weight. You got to get rid of the guys that you just were brought there to play around Messi. You got to find guys that will come in, be impactful players, play as themselves, and benefit your team. I mean, I'm not going to say who it is because there could be options out there anywhere of who can be brought in. But like, I think that's all they really need. They need people to come in who want to play, who want to win, rather than just building a team around one player and that player's gone. They've just left the carcass of that built team there.
Yep.
I want to ask you the same thing, Jackson. I want to ask you quickly the same thing, and you can pick a team. I just want to quickly touch on Barca and something that's not transfer related, right? They just need to adopt a formation, stick with it, right?
Yeah.
They need to adopt a formation and a tactic, whether that be counter-attacking football or possession or tiki-taka or whatever it is, right? They need to adopt one certain way of playing because they played like it for so long. Doesn't have to be the same way they play with Messi because that's not going to work anymore. They need to adopt one mentality or one style of play, and let Pedri, let Fatty, let Puge, let all your young players shine under one system of football, and don't let them leave the club.
Just unleash them. That's all they need to do.
And don't let them leave.
Exactly. Get him in a place to flourish and then unleash him.
Yep.
Because they played under that Messi formation for too long. But yeah, Jackson, take it away.
If I had to pick one of the two, I would want to say Barca, and I would say sack Ronald Koeman for that reason, because he clearly isn't up for this job of sticking to a way. For me, go to a 4-3-3 and get the players you need to work that system. I think it's a system the fans want to see. I think it's the system that works in Spain. They're not great defenses. Like, if you're playing 5 at the back, like that's not the system that's going to work in La Liga or be the best in La Liga.
Especially not the Champions League.
No, not in the Champions League either. I think that they need to go to a 4-3-3, make sure that all these young players playing Pedri, Fatty, you make sure they really get a good go. But I think that I would say is that sacking Ronald Koeman also works because he clearly mismanaged Pedri and led to that injury, that Pedri goal. That was clearly Ronald Koeman's fault.
Agreed.
And if he can't manage even stuff like that, he can't be at that club. That'd be my opinion on that.
It's really interesting you bring up Koeman, but do you look at he performed? He was pretty good Netherlands manager up until the very end. And he lost. He was on a losing streak before he left. He couldn't win
international football.
It's a different story.
It's different, right? But he came off of really bad. He signed on really bad form. Is that really the mentality that Barcelona want to put forward? Is that the image? Is that the image that they need to put forward?
Yeah,
we're going to sign a manager that isn't winning games.
Should have gotten Conte. Conte would have been a good one.
Conte would have saved that club.
He might not have played a 4-3-3, but he would have saved the club, and he would have stuck to one way of football. Exactly. He would have stuck to one way.
Conte is notorious for popping in a 3 at the back, right? But if they stuck to that 3 at the back, then it works. Right?
Yeah,
you can't have this flip flop. They need to pick a strategy and stick to it.
Yeah. Well, that's us nearly running out of time here, so we'll quickly go over some game predictions for this upcoming match week. I will ask Anthony to give us Manchester United versus Everton. What's your score prediction?
Okay. Bit of a tough one. United need this win. Otherwise, our top 4 chances are probably going to be hurting a little bit. I back Ronaldo to probably get us a win in the 90th minute again, 2-1.
Okay, no problem. Yep. I'm going to make my hot take. I know what my hot take is, and it is this game. I don't think Ronaldo scores in this game. Okay. I think this is a game that is an opportunity for the other players to show that they can step up and win games themselves without Ronaldo. Because that's been the few losses. When Ronaldo hasn't scored, that team looks stale. But this is a chance. At home against Everton, it's not a super weak side, so there's not complacency. Yep. This is a chance for other players to step up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, while we're doing hot takes, Jackson, you want to give us your score prediction, then we'll go through score and hot takes.
Yeah. Well, I would say, if I had to say any single individual, I would say that if we're talking about West Ham versus Brentford, I would say that I mean, for me, I think that Manchester United are going to beat Everton. I think that's a easy result. I think 2-0. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But if I had to look at that West Ham Brentford game, I'm much less confident about that result. I can pick the Manchester United Everton. I can pick Chelsea Southampton, but West Ham Brentford, it's the first time we've met in a while. These two clubs, I don't really have a basis to work off, but I look forward to it. I think it'll be entertaining football. I'll say West Ham win 2-1.
Okay. All right. And just before we jump to you, Matt, I'll just give my little hot take for the week, so we can tie it off with the big Liverpool supporter himself.
Don't.
I actually might. I know it's a bit off books, but I actually might take my hot take out of the Premier League for this week. I know,
Ooh.
shocking. I know, but
Wild.
I think
wild.
if I get this hot take wrong, just because it's not in the Prem,
You're
I
definitely
think
next
I
week.
deserve to lose.
Yeah.
I think Messi in his next game will score a brace
Oh.
against Rennes.
Okay. All right. If he
All right.
starts.
If
All
he's
right.
no, don't say that.
All right, Matt.
Let me get to my predictions. So I just rapid fire the two previous. United Everton. Look, I reckon it's gonna be a draw. To be honest with you, I think Everton's got the firepower. They can hold off United. Don't think Ronaldo's going to score either. West Ham Brentford. My hot take of the week as well. I reckon it's going to be a draw there as well. I reckon you guys haven't matched up between each other before. You don't know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen the first time each other matches up. I reckon Brentford, West Ham, draw. And the main one, look, Chelsea.
If we beat them 4-0, you better get used to wearing that Liverpool shirt.
No, mate. No. So, look, Chelsea this week, we're playing the Giant Slayers, all right? We're playing Southampton.
Premier League champions, 2021.
Yeah, look, they've taken draws from Man United, they've taken draws from Man City, they've taken draws from big teams this year already. Look, I don't think it's going to end that way. I think it's going to be 2-1 Chelsea.
Big shout.
Okay, fair enough.
Shout,
I think that's fair.
I'm back it.
I'd back
in
that.
London
Yeah.
as well. It's all right. You guys have the same advantage.
Yeah. All right, there you go then. Well, we've all backed our sides to win, even though Matt doesn't have trust. We're going to smash Brentford, and then Matt's going to have a bad week. But we'll see how it goes. Thank you for joining us, guys, wherever you're watching us. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to follow. And we've been us, Jackson, Matt, Anthony, and we'll see you guys next time.
Not a Liverpool supporter.